Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. So it's actually a pretty reasonable day in crypto and digital asset land, as we've got Jerome Powell came out and had some pretty impressive things to say as far as with digital assets. Now, as far as like the markets themselves, we'll take a look at that. But it is just comes down to an interesting part of the timeline. So we're going to go over what Jerome said, and he really just talks about. There's a couple of things he said actually. But in this clip, he is talking mostly about stablecoins and digital asset banks, and banks helping out customers for custody, for transactions, and doing a couple of different things that he's alluding to as far as talking about banks and digital assets. But if we want to know about everything that Jerome said, there's a ton of different ways you can do that. But I'm just going to give you a breakdown. There was actually 6 things he said, and I just condensed them into a very short amount of like a paragraph. So for economic outlook, Jerome said, hey, the U.S. economy remains solid despite heightened uncertainty and downside risks. Now, the markets didn't like that. That's why the S&P 500 isn't doing so hot today. As far as tariffs and inflation, which is everybody's favorite subject, tariffs, he described the Trump administration tariffs as significantly larger than anticipated. But he did say we're looking forward to this because it is only a one-time raise, which is true on tariffs. Monetary policy stance, he says Fed is adopting a wait-and-see approach, nothing big there. Dual mandate challenges, the Fed's dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices, what they're trying to achieve. He did say that the labor market is near maximum employment, but describes it as imbalance. In the last 2, economic risks, he acknowledged that the risk of slower growth and rising unemployment as the economy slows, partly due to tariff impacts, and the market and deficit concerns. He describes financial markets as functional and orderly. So talking about that, I thought to myself, that's not too bad. But unfortunately, the S&P 500 thought differently and started to tank, and it's down 3% today, which is pretty substantial. I got to tell you, if you're a traditional finance person, 3% is like huge for them. Now it's 2.24, so not so bad. And then, of course, our markets looking pretty good. I mean, I remember the days when traditional markets would go down 1-2%, and Bitcoin would go down 10, 15, 20%. But for the last hour, it's looking pretty good. 1% up for Ethereum, XRP across the board, Solana 2.9, 3.9. I mean, you can read. It's looking pretty good. So that, to me, I got to tell you, I take it as a win for today. Now, there's a lot of things that are going on in the background, but I like to see some good news. There is some bad news at the end. Just wait, because I can't give you all hope. So just take a listen to this. This is about a minute long. And shout out to Jungle Inc. for posting this on X. Guy's doing a great job. So take a listen to what Jerome says from the horse's mouth. I'll make sure you can hear this perfectly. And here we go.
During that period, by the way, we worked with Congress to try to get a framework, a legal framework for stablecoins, which would have been a nice place to start. We were not successful. I think that the climate is changing, and you're moving into sort of more mainstreaming of that whole sector. So Congress is again looking at both the Senate and the House are looking at a framework, a legal framework for stablecoins. Depending on what's in it, that's a good idea. We need that. There isn't one now. And stablecoins are a digital product that could actually have fairly wide appeal and should contain consumer protections of the typical sorts and transparency. And that's what the Senate and the House are working on. So that's a positive thing. I also think some of the, we took a pretty conservative, and the other bank regulators took an even more conservative perspective on the guidance and rules we imposed on banks. I think there'll be some loosening of that, and I think we'll try to do it in a way that preserves safety and soundness, but that permits and fosters appropriate innovation, but that does so in a way that again doesn't put consumers at risk in ways they don't understand or make banks less safe and sound.
So, not too bad. I like to see that. That sounds pretty good. But I've been talking about stablecoins for quite some time, and now people will say, well, Rob, what is the big deal about stablecoins? Because it doesn't really make a big difference to me. I can't really get rich off those. They are essentially pegged to the dollar, right? And that's true. And as a reminder, transactions for stablecoins, I think, is going to be the killer app use, especially as we move towards trying to make the dollar maintain relevance in time. I think the Trump administration knows that, but I've showed this many times, and I want to beat in everybody's head. As far as like transactional value, as of just last year, and I think it should be up this year, Transaction value as far as stablecoins have dwarfed Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Now, it didn't start out that way. In 2020, 2019, when it first rolled around, not a big thing. And now here we are in 5 short years. So if you can tell me of another project that is doing that much volume globally, I'm all ears. Because I know people don't like to talk about stablecoins because it's not very sexy, it's not very nice, but it is what it is. And I think it is the killer use case, and especially globally, for what things can actually be done. Now, this comes to the big part, like we've always talked about. If you're looking for like, well, should I just invest in USDC? I can't give you investment advice, but I can tell you, if you go to USDC and Tether, which is 91% of the market of all stablecoin usage, let me say it again, USDC and Tether, 91%. All you gotta do is just take a look at what chains are they on. And very simply, it is Ethereum, number 1. I know people don't like Ethereum. It's not doing too much, and that's true, but it does have actual utility. It's a funny thing. Unichain, ZK Sync, Optimism, Polkadot, Tron, also a good one. Also, if you're ever looking for like which projects seem to like weather the storm really well, Tron, go figure, right? Well, it's because I'm an American. I don't really get out too much, but Tron is a very big use case as far as like with stablecoins in Southeast Asian, Asian countries. So if you're looking for something else, Tron might be it. Near Protocol also has an AI component. Hedera, Aptos, Algorand, Stellar, Silo, Sui, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Polygon, Base, and Solana. So again, if you're looking for something, I think those are the winners. And I know I just saw in the chats people would say, hey, you know what? Altcoin season is done. This is going to make it. And I think they're right, quite honestly. I think altcoin season, as far as like what we saw in 2021, when everything just exploded, and then everything, it doesn't matter what you had, just went through the roof. I think it's a little bit more measured approach. And I think some of the blue chip alts are going to do pretty well. And the ones like number 4,500 are just going to fall the wayside and go to the trash bin where they belong. So let me know how wrong I am in that. And let me know what your thoughts in the comment section. But also another piece of good news, and don't worry, the bad news is coming. M2 money supply is at an all-time high. I don't know if you guys knew this. I didn't know this. But the US M2 money supply is at an all-time high. And I was like, is that true? And I took a look at Ben's website. And let me refresh this because it only goes to, let me make sure I don't want to, before I bust Ben's chops tomorrow on NFA Live. It only does go to February. So if we could get the March data, that would be great. And anyhow, but M2 money supply at the height of the, going past the pandemic. Here's the pandemic down here, January 20. We just rose up like crazy. The M2 money supply was 21.75 trillion. Right now, under the radar, you're looking at 21.67 trillion. So probably in March it hit that. So that's money printing. Japan's M2 money supply is almost at a new all-time high, and the EU M2 money supply is an all-time high. So what does that mean? We have all that money sloshing around. It's got to go somewhere. Now, I'm not for sure that it's going to find its way into Chinese companies that are being listed on NASDAQ and QQQ and stuff like that, because there is a lot of rumbling about them being decommissioned or taken off. Just saying, that's just things I hear. So if you're looking for a place to stick your cash, whatever cash that is, if that's dollar, euro, peso, whatever, where would you put it? That's the question, I think, for everybody else to answer. So there is some good news. Also, I don't like talking about Trump and tariffs too much because every time I talk about Trump and tariffs, people lose their mind. So I'm just going to say this. This looks good. As far as we just talked about M2 money supply for Japan, Trump put this out. Japan is coming in today to negotiate tariffs, the cost of military support and trade fairness. I will attend the meeting along with Treasury and Commerce secretaries. Hopefully something can be worked out, which is great for Japan and the USA. I like that. That's good news. Also from Kobayashi letter. Now this was 10 hours ago. I don't know if this actually holds up. But they state that the stocks rebounded as China says it's open for talks if Trump shows respect and names a point person. I don't really want to keep covering tariffs. It's going to happen or it's not going to happen. Either it's going to be a massive, massive win or a huge catastrophe and everything's going to go to zero. One of those two things could happen. And then lastly, to give you a little bit of reality check, yes, this is from Bar Chart. Definitely give them a follow on Twitter or X. The S&P 500 companies are experiencing the worst earnings revisions since the onset of COVID. And of course, as time goes on and tariffs come in, I think there's going to be a lot of revisions, and there's going to be a lot of problems in the traditional markets. Will that carry over to Bitcoin and digital assets? It's anybody's guess. But I can just tell you what I'm doing. Keep buying, dollar cost averaging. I don't know what's going to happen in tomorrow or next week or even months or 3 months. But in the long term, I am still bullish on this space, and we'll see what happens. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. We're talking about it's time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A. This is the best part of the show where I get to talk to everybody and they get to tell me how wrong I was. I'm just kidding. I love everybody. Joe says, keep it real, DCA chill. It is, but the problem is like, and Joe's right. He is right. But the problem with the DCA and chill is when you're like, where I don't have any dry powder because I bought the last dip and the dip before that and the dip before that. I have problems because there's only so much I can do. And I got to put food on the table and I got to pay for these kids. And I got to make sure that I do something for the future. And I got to pay a mortgage. And I got to pay. I get it. So like, it would be nice to have a little bit of a pump so people can take some profits, right? Rule number 5. But if you can't DCA right now, I mean, just try your best, I would say, and kind of go from there. It's not like it's so easy. We can just dump money in. That's for sure. Ross says, seems like you don't like Ben, Dirty Dan. I love Ben. Ben's great. I just want his website to be updated. And I don't get to bust his chops for anything else because he's been right about everything else. Guy was right on Bitcoin dominance, right on altcoins, right on Ethereum going home. It's on fire. Now all we need is a Fed pivot. Yeah, you know, the Fed's not going to pivot anytime soon. Does anybody believe the Fed's going to pivot and really come in and go, yeah, this seems like time? Jerome Powell doesn't want to be, he wants to be Volcker, not Burns. Back in the 1970s, Volcker was the Fed chair, and he essentially raised rates because he's like, look, if we cut it, it's inflationary. And inflation's up to, it was like, I want to say 14%. It was ridiculously high. And if he didn't do that, we would have gone into a depression. Burns did that. He dropped rates and it screwed everything up for a while. But, you know, you live and you learn, and that's what Jerome Powell is taking the cues from. I think they hire for longer as far as rates go. Makes sense to me. And nothing's crashed yet. And who knows? I mean, people have said countless times that they thought that we were already in a recession last year, and now we're kind of coming out of it. So I don't know. Tell me how much it costs for your eggs. Tell me how much it costs for your gas. Tell me how much it costs for your mortgages and your rents, and tell me if inflation's going up or down. Me personally, eggs are cheaper. I eat like 12 a day, so that's the one thing I can gauge it. Gas, I have a sweet 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, a Grand Caravan. Yeah, I know. But I didn't want to, you know, ball her out and just get anything. So it was a Grand Caravan. Super good gas mileage. I highly, highly recommend it for the dads and the granddads out there. Anyhow, he thinks inflation is going to go up from tariffs. This is true. He did, because he said there's two things, and it makes a lot of sense. Think about this. Tariffs come in, right? 10% globally. China gets the shaft, and either they get the 125% or the 400% like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, wants them to do. Whichever way it goes, you get 10%. It's a one-time raise. Boop. And that's pretty much it. Now, everybody has to pay more, and it depends on if the companies, US-based companies, or if the companies, if they actually decide to eat those costs. If you go to TikTok or X, you will see a countless flooding of videos from these different manufacturers in China stating like, look, if you like this bag for $38,000, here's how much it costs here. And it lays it out like this bag, I forgot what it wasn't a Chanel, it was like some other high-class bag I have no business knowing about. $38,000, they said it's going to cost us about $600 to make. If you want this same bag without a logo, here's the website and we'll ship it to you. And that was the thing. Now the question is like, say, Nike going to do it? Are they going to get the cost, or the different auto manufacturers? It just depends. It depends, or it's going to be a slight increase. We'll find out. PR Crypto Jimmy says China tariffs are 245% as of today. That's true, but it's a little the way that they said it is like this. It's 100% reciprocal, or so 125 or somewhere around there. It's a combination of two ones. And then there's an additional 100% tariff on specific products. So it's not across the board 245%. It's on specific products. I couldn't tell you what those products are. That's why you got Grok and ChatGPT to figure that out. But yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal for a while. We'll see. I'm going to whittle my Christmas presents this year. That could be true. We want the logo. Do you have any other flippers in any other countries besides Puerto Rico? JF is asking us, the question comes from a piece of material that we put out a couple of days ago. We had on Robert Krager from the Flip Flop Flipper, he does a lot of things with loans, flipping houses in the great Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, where I live. Not currently. Right now I'm in Texas. But the community they have, or they're building it. And as far as like flippers in other countries, I don't. And I don't really plan to do anything else outside of Puerto Rico because if there's any place I think that has an asymmetrical bet for real estate, it is in Puerto Rico. There are houses that are dilapidated and run down in beautiful neighborhoods. It's crazy. And they're like 50 to 60% of what they would go for comps. And if you take a look at it, like, why don't people actually pick this up? It's a couple of different reasons. First of all, the real estate tax over there is super low. So you can actually pay that and just not really worry too much about it, especially if you're a family, someone passed away, And then also, like, it's one of those places where if you just can find good people to do it, which is very tough, then you can make a killing. And I want to do it over there because there is a housing shortage. Other places, I don't have anything for you. And honestly, I just want to focus on one geographical location. Yeah, 312 girl from Chicago. Saw the same in Hawaii. And it's the same thing going on right now. Oh, I remember what I was trying to say. The other problem over there in Puerto Rico is that the banks are very tough to get loans for. Like if you can go to a bank, if you want to get some type of commercial, even a residential loan, it's going to take you not too many weeks. Over there in Puerto Rico, you're looking at 3-4 months, and that's on a good timeline. So there's a lot of things that are needed. One of those is hard cash. Just saying. All right. Good luck in the trades been required to fix things in the next 3 years. Mojo is right. That's why it befuddles me. It confuses me as to why there's not more people going into the trade industry. If you take a look at what AI is doing and what it's disrupting in the different sectors, you'll know that job security is working with this and being able to do things. Electrician, plumbers, general contractors, that's what we need. I mean, I saw a statistic. They were looking for 100,000 people for nuclear power engineers and some people that could actually work in the infrastructure. For 100,000 people, right now they can only find 10,000. They're 90,000 short. As you know, we have a massive problem with electricity in America. Right now in Puerto Rico, I think the entire island, if not 90% have actually just went dark because of Luma. We need nuclear power. We need more power sources. And if we can't get those to actually built, that's a bigger crisis than tariffs, I will say. That's just me going off on a rant. Yeah, Joe, HVAC was going to be for 30. Look, if you can do something like with HVAC, heating and cooling, you just wrote your ticket. Isn't that crazy? 20 years ago, people would say, no, get a degree in English literature or something. That's the real key. Go into massive debt. Try to pay that off over the next 20 years. Man, how long we were. Danny from Spain. Peter Schiff must be levitating in joy. Peter, I heard that Peter Schiff's actually a pretty cool guy off camera. I have to meet him. Rob, have you ever thought of your own exchange? No, absolutely not, because that sounds like a lot of headache and responsibility and a lot of things to go wrong. So no chance in hell. Let's see. Yeah, Base Bailey. I just resigned recently as a diesel tech. Just didn't see them working out well. I'm telling you right now, working with hands. Let's see. Joe, everybody's happy to see you, Danny. That's great. What else did I miss? I think that's it. Ross said that America is burning its allies in China. China's not worried at the moment. I don't know. Remember, we did have 75 different countries come in and actually talk to Trump. But again, tariffs. We can talk about this all day long, but what does it really get us? Not a darn thing. So let's just let that do what it does and then just do what we can do, which is look for the opportunities. Gary says, I have a BS degree in environmental science and end up owning a home inspection business. I'm busy. See? There you go. We need real people doing real things. Until, of course, the Terminators get made. But, once those happen, then we're all gone. Yeah, come on. If I lived on an island, I would have solar, battery, and a garden. Yeah. Just that those panels are expensive. But they are worth it. Verhoofd, he says, Rob, what's a dilapidated property, a nice neighborhood worth in a Puerto Rico ballpark value? I'll tell you this. Depends on where you're at. Because, I will tell you guys that I've lived in Guaynabo and I've lived in San Juan. And Guaynabo is more away from the beach. Mostly it's like a 10-minute drive. So it's not a big deal. And hold on real quick. And I can just tell you that properties around Guaynabo and say like San Juan, you're looking at a high 6 figures, 7 figure type of thing, right? And if you get into that, you're like, that's just too much. But there are great buys that you could snag for 175, 225 that are worth 400, 450. They are in various locations, and it's crazy because people say, well, are they bad neighborhoods? Is it nothing but crime and drugs? No, there are neighborhoods like that. I mean, it's just pretty much how it is. But you can get into some of these neighborhoods, find a really rundown, trashed house, and there's plenty of them. And you can pick up one of those, put the money into it, find the right contractors, and then you can sell it to local Puerto Ricans who are like, hey, I would like to buy that house, but, well, there's two things. I can get an FHA loan, first-time home buyers loan, or I just want to do owner finance. You want to do owner finance? Okay. So you're looking at 7.25% right now for roughly a 30-year mortgage. We're going to do, say, something, because I'm going to take some more risk. We're going to do 8. We're going to do 8%, and I need you to put down X percentage down, and so on and so forth. So this is not the channel to talk about that. But it's a very long-winded way to say that there's massive, I think there's massive opportunity. And if you just watch this video, if you want, there was one that Robert did. It was 175, and it's this video right here. Just look for flip-flop flipper. And I want everybody to watch this. I want everybody to watch this video if you're interested in this. If you're interested. And it's amazing, he's like, this is how much it is. We did the comps. This is a great neighborhood. We're going to make X amount of dollars. It's multiple 6 figures. I was like, wow, it's crazy. Anyhow, yeah, that's it. Let's see. I don't say it like that. I just stole that from Trump. China. Let's see. My Pokemon cards are still booming. Bobby shouts. It's been a long time, Bobby. I'm tired of the diamond hands. I need some pump. It's coming. I just don't know when. Maybe it comes in 4 years. No one wants to hear that. Maybe it comes in a year. Maybe it comes in 2. I don't know. But I will tell you this. How many of you round-tripped your bag so far? I'm guilty too. I haven't sold everything. I took some profits. It wasn't enough. I should have done better. I admit it. But, how many of you have just you get caught up? This is a great reminder of why when we hit some big numbers like Bobby's asking for, when we hit those numbers, okay, I got to sell. Somebody in the comment section yesterday said, Rob, I sold $50 yesterday and I feel like a baller. Thanks for the advice. And I was like, you know what? If you just do something small like that and you have it in your muscle memory, later on when these prices go crazy high and everybody's like, diamond hands, bro, it's going to go on the moon, then you can actually start to sell. And that's, I think, is the bigger thing, that you're taken care of and that you have some profits to rest your laurels on. That's it. That's all I want for everybody. That's all. Also, I want you guys to move to Puerto Rico because I need more people to hang out with. Yeah, I rotated. Nope. Yes. Verhoofdy with a nice wrench today. I round-tripped 9 bags. We all done it. Some of us have triple tripped it. Man, good for you, Calvin Surf. I sold 40% when we peaked. Excellent. We never had big numbers for alts. It wasn't really that big, honestly. And like Solana hit its all-time high and went a little bit higher. Cardano didn't hit anything near its all-time high. I don't think so. I don't even think it hit $2. And Ethereum wasn't even close to 5,000. But you're right. But there's some other ones that did pretty well. Sui was one of them. A lot of AI agents did pretty good. Mantra did great. Of course, it's not doing so great today, but I hope everybody the best on that one. I really do. Again, Mantra and Ohm, watch the video from yesterday, the collapse of 90%. Sometimes things don't make it. That's how it goes. I crush an XRP, very good. West Coast to PR, how much time frame? West Coast to PR. Well, from El Paso to Puerto Rico, it's like 6 hours. So add on 2, maybe 3 to that. Days off. Rob, I cannot unstake ADA and Trust Wallet. I'm desperate. The thing about Trust Wallet is it's not about unstaking or staking, because I learned this mistake the hard way. You either go all in or you don't. So what I want you to do, days off, is try to move ADA in your Trust Wallet to another wallet and just see what happens. If it says like it's staked, then we can go down that route. But just try to move it right now. It may, because usually, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Cardano people, but you don't have to unstake per se. It's just you just move and then it goes. It's like saying, how do I know, or can I stake 40% to Digital Asset News' stake pool, and then also to Dan Gambardello's stake pool at 60%? Can I split it up? In most wallets, you can't. There's one called Lace. I think you can. Usually when you designate, it's 100% and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. So days off, hopefully that works. Just try to move it. What else? I'm going to rimp. Bobby says, I was dabbling with some S coins, but round trip. Oh, Theta. Remember those days? Bitcoin, only thing holding my head above water. Oh, you know what I forgot to say on the stablecoins issue that we were just talking about? We did a video like 2 or 3 days ago. It was an interview with the Tether CEO and Scott Melker, the Wolf of Wall Street. And the CEO of Tether said that they're trying to, or they're going to bridge over and allow stablecoins, or their stablecoin Tether, on the Lightning rails, which would take the advantage of the Bitcoin ecosystem. So right there for stablecoins, you have a killer use case, and it's on Bitcoin. It's a win-win for everybody. Oh, sorry. I'm in El Paso, and it's super dry here. It is the desert. Boy, do I miss Puerto Rico. Been here like 4 days. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I stopped staking last year. Iman, sure? Andrew says, I want to have barbecue and a beer with Rob. Let's get Real Estate Cat up on the show. I can get Robert back. Actually, you know what we're going to do on Monday? He's got a live stream for members. How about if we all just go over there and ask him questions? And I'll say, Robert, I need you to let everybody else in. So let's just do that. And then you guys can ask all the questions about, how it all works over there. But I see it as something different. Like, I know what Robert's doing, and it makes sense to me, but hear me out. I feel like I'm in Mad Men, like when Draper's like, just hear me out. What if you could have a deal that's like, okay, here's a house for $200,000, right? And we're taking, 20 people, and 20 people can put $200,000 in, but 10,000 a piece, obviously. And you do that in some way where you put 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, right? You have 200,000. It takes 3 or 4 months. They fix it up and they sell it. And based on how much they sold, you get a percentage of the selling. And since you don't do anything, obviously the interest or the APY would be smaller, like say like 10%. But wouldn't that be something? You put in 10,000, they do the work, you get $1,000 back. That's it. And then you provide homes for people who live in a commonwealth that desperately needs houses. Legally, I don't know how that works. Just thinking out loud. And I don't know if I can, I don't think you can do that. And Gary says, isn't that tokenized real estate? That could be, but I don't like to do the tokenized version yet. I mean, maybe down the line, because now we're taking a look at like, well, is that a security or is that a commodity when we tokenize things? And I don't want to go down that route. Yeah, Rob, what you're describing, I know it's a real estate investment trust. I got that. But for an REIT, if you want to do that, that is specific to Puerto Rico and what they're doing over there, that is a different animal. You can do it, but is it specifically for Puerto Rico and are they doing it? And then can you be a part of the process itself? Again, those real estate investment trusts, they're taking large amounts of different properties and putting them into a basket. So yeah, fractionalized real estate. Again, I want to get away from that. A meetup in El Paso is more doable for some than Puerto Rico. Do you do both? Maybe. We'll see what happens. I'm staying far away from stablecoins. Yeah, I don't blame you. Especially, although, Berhoefti, do you worry about them going to zero like Tether? Like, I've been hearing that Tether's going to go to zero since 2017. I don't know. And Pierre Crypto says, Jimmy says, I think we can do it as a limited partnership. Yeah, some type of, but you have to do a limited partnership for each single property. Again, that's not it's just an idea. It's not even really well thought out. You can smart contract loan for huge gains, but only at a good bull market. Yeah, I just worry about, I'd like to do it the old fashioned way first and then move to the newer way. Because how do you get people to trust you? You know? I trust Tether more than my fiat. Yeah. The real Beal says, do you remember Van Eck's Sol prediction? How do you feel about that? Van Eck's had a lot of predictions. And so far, I don't know if everybody knows this, but so far in 2023 and beyond, I am 100% correct on all my price predictions. So, Real Beal, tell me what it was again, as far as Sol. Oh, I got you. Verb says, I don't trust stablecoins. If you feel in your gut, that's it. Ahmad says, politics are running our bull market. Love the show. Thank you. And it's 100% correct. Yeah, the green screen one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, you pay $5 or $10 and they give you really good stuff. Jupiter says, the old fashioned way, like a suitcase full of cash and a handshake. Nah, straight dirty fiat. How do you get people to trust you? Videos on Bitcoin dominance. That's a good one. How do you get people to go with that? You know what I think it's going to be? It can't be anybody in the channel. It just can't, because it just seems kind of fishy to do it like that. I tell you what, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to get together with Robert and the people that are down there, my little clique of crypto OG people. I'm going to have them do it, and we'll all go in at a certain amount, get a house, fix it up, and show people how it is. And we'll do that a couple times, and then we'll see how it works out. And if it's got good returns, then we'll do something with it. If it's awful, well, it's only me and my friends who lose out. Yeah, people talk about fiat, and it's not that bad. Man, add up all the price predictions in 2017, and up how many came true. That's true. Ephraim says, amen. Sounds good. Bobby shouts, how are we certain we aren't looking at AI, Dan? You're not, Bobby. That's why you have to go through, as I've talked about many times, the rules. And rule number two should be everything's a scam. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. So don't even trust what I'm talking about. Yeah, just forget what I said about the real estate. Shouldn't have even said anything. Do you think we're going down? Yeah, probably at some point. And then Chris says, since DeFi is being deregulated, I'm sure there's a way to set this up. We'll find out. Lastly, Mark says, I need a gold stable coin. I think we did this already. It didn't work out too well. And yeah. Let's leave it with this. Let's leave it with this. Altcoin season when? Altcoin season is going to happen sometime between now and 2029. Nailed it. All right, everybody, that's it for today. So thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I know it's kind of boring. There's some sideways action, but just stick around. Boring times is when you can accumulate, and it'll get payoff later on. I'm not going to say it's going to pay off tomorrow. Just stick around. You're going to like it. We're going to go. That's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.